YouTube, it's jazzlovesmma here, and I'm going to be talking about how Conor McGregor is the real greatest what if in MMA/UFC history. And I contemplated making this video a couple times, but I think I'm going to just do it like this. I was originally going to do a tier list, but that was too much work. I think enough time has passed for I get to fully talk about it and break down the career of Conor McGregor. In an interview of last week, I think, during the fight week, I couldn't find the clip. He had said that, I think he said that the fame got to him, he got rich too quick, he never even drank before he started the whiskey brand. I think all of that completely changed the career of Conor McGregor. And I think, that definitely played a part in his career and, maybe the mental downfall of McGregor. But what really started, I think, was this break that he took. Let me see the dates. 2 years off after fighting Eddie Alvarez. Nearly 2 years off because he went and fought Floyd Mayweather. The Floyd Mayweather fight completely changed Conor McGregor for the rest of his career. Completely changed him. Completely changed his career for the probably worst. As you can see in 2016, he fought 3 times. This was probably like the biggest year he could have ever had. The Nate Diaz rematch, huge fights. Then he has the Alvarez double champ performance. That's right after having the Aldo performance, which knocked him out in 13 seconds. He's one of the biggest stars in the UFC. One of the biggest stars in the UFC. Not even just one of the biggest stars in the UFC. Takes 2 years off. In the meantime, he boxes Floyd Mayweather. And I think that's what ruined his career. What if he didn't take those fights or those boxing matches? Would he have fought Khabib earlier? Would he have fought Tony? I think he would have beat Tony. And would have prime, locked in McGregor with no, what's the word I'm looking for? With no extra money to be a motivator. Would he have beat maybe a Khabib earlier in the career? Because I think this was Khabib before the Poirier fight, maybe. He comes back in his fight since. He takes another 2 years off. Fights Cerrone, literally a nothing fight. Takes a year off. Comes back. Fights Poirier. Takes some time off that after getting KO'd. Rematches Poirier and gets his fucking leg snapped in the first round. What happens then later? 5 years later, last week, we saw it happen. He fucking fucks up his own knee doing a scissor kick. Fucked up his own knee. He said there was no injuries. I just needed to use this image. I don't really care about what was being said in the tweet. But look at him, man. He's like 37. Fucked up his own knee. Obviously, there's lots of talks of, did he injure himself? Was he injured coming into this fight? That's not what I wanted. Is it this one? Yes. A few notes. I will have the result of the scan of my leg tomorrow. I don't know if anything has been posted yet. It's been 23 hours since this, so I don't know. Apparently, YouTuber on YouTube proved Wade right. He wasn't injured coming into this fight or something like that. Well, he did have a previous knee injury. I guess we'll find out more information coming up. He says he wants the fight to be a no contest. Don't agree with that. But what if he... Where is it? There it is. Nope. What if he just doesn't take this fight? What a hilarious image. What if you just didn't take this? Shin to the bone, shin bone to the cheekbone. The rule set kept you out of your funeral home. I think this was after the Floyd Mayweather fight, I guess. And then you can see here when you gotta fight Khabib or Tony next, you gotta start calling out a boxer for an MMA fight. So this was probably right after the Floyd fight, and this just shows he wanted another one. He wanted to keep fighting Floyd. He knew where the money was at, and he didn't want to come back to MMA. He does anyway, right? Because he's still competitive. He showed that he wanted a good comeback, and he just didn't get it. He never got the biggest comeback. He's been saying that since probably the Khabib fight, since the Poirier fight, since the Holloway fight. This is the biggest comeback of UFC history, of MMA history, combat sports history. This is the comeback of the lifetime, and we just never get it because he went and fucking boxed Floyd Mayweather and made a fuck ton of money instead of fighting Khabib or Tony. I think he would beat Tony. I just think maybe not, seeing as the Nate Diaz fight. So, and Prime Tony had a pretty good recovery. You know, maybe not the best chin because he was still getting dropped and stuff, but his recovery was insane. But man, we really thought. And then I mentioned it in the beginning of this video. McGregor and the alcohol. You know, he said I never drink an alcohol like this much before I got the whiskey brand, and he said he had a whole bunch of boxes in his garage or something like that, and that the temptation got to him. And when you want to talk about temptation, this whole thing is just put another stain on McGregor's career. And this probably, if he doesn't get too big for his bucks and he doesn't become the superstar and he doesn't start the alcohol and the cocaine and all this, does this happen? I'm not denying that if this was true or not. I don't know. I didn't look enough into the story, right? But this is still a stain on McGregor's resume, not on his resume, on his career. Like on an outside perspective, where you're not just looking at the wins of Conor McGregor's career, this is a stain on it. And I think this is when he did an early retirement with, I think, April 19, 2016. When would that have been? So what? After he had lost to Nate, he had become one of the biggest names, and then he faked his early retirement. Then I guess the Nate rematch got booked. I think that's what this is about. I decided to retire young. Thanks for the cheese. Catches later, and then he immediately comes back. Faked retirement. Came back anyway. And yeah, what if he didn't? Like, another one is, what if he just didn't fight Nate on short notice? What if he would have rematched Aldo? Or what if he just would have immediately moved up and fought Eddie Alvarez? What if he would have fought RDA? So many different things with Conor McGregor's career that could have changed it. Maybe for the better. Maybe he needed the loss earlier on, and that would have kept him in the game, right? You can say that about the Nate Diaz loss, but I think the Nate Diaz loss, like, Nate Diaz is a huge name. Then he could build the rematch without even these two fights didn't even need a belt. They weren't even for belts. They were just main events because of how big the fights were. Imagine if he just kept fighting. 2 years off. Most of the time being spent boxing. Conor McGregor wasted his career off getting too famous at a young age. He says here, wait, where's the tweet again? Nope. Decided to retire young. He already knew he made a loss of money when he was young. 2016. So this is when he was like 27? He's boxing Mayweather when he was 28, 29? Like 28, I guess. Crazy stuff. He just got way too big. He got way too popular. He made way too much money too early in his career. It didn't allow him to stay hungry. Came back. 2 years off against Khabib. The Cerrone win doesn't even feel like it happened. The Poirier one win, he gets KO'd. And then for this next two, they're weird injuries that he may have come into injured. The Poirier fight, he said he had a stress fracture on his shin already. That had caused it to crack because there wasn't really a check, and that's not why the leg snapped. Holloway fight, he says it's just a freak accident. I guess we'll find out more, and that's kind of what I'm waiting for. just to find out what happened. But I truly think McGregor's the biggest what if. Because what if, imagine, what if he just doesn't take that Floyd fight in the boxing match? What if he keeps fighting? What if he keeps fighting in 155? Fights the contenders and stuff. Fights RDA. There's all these fights. Fights Khabib and Tony like he was supposed to earlier than when he fought Khabib here. Khabib's career changes. He doesn't fight, what's his name? Alo Quinta for a title, right? Like, he doesn't do that. That doesn't happen. Tony doesn't go on this crazy win streak, and then you don't have this situation with Tony and Khabib constantly pulling out against each other. That's another issue. That's all caused by Conor. All of this is caused by Conor taking the Floyd Mayweather because he got too big for his boots, made too much money, and he could just fuck off and do whatever he wanted because he is that big of a name. That's why he's able to fucking take 5 years off and rack in 15.9 million viewers, I think it was. It was maybe that was just how much money was made from the event. I don't know. I don't really remember reading the post right, but the career of Conor McGregor, man. Chad Mendes, he beat Poirier when Poirier was the top featherweight. Diego Brandao was not a bad win. The Max Holloway win. He beat Max Holloway. And that's why he was feeling so confident going into this fight. But man, just a big stain on his career and what could have been. What could have been a hungry, still in the game McGregor, even if he had lost. Even if he did lose an AD, but even if he had lost after the Eddie Alvarez fight, it would have still been nice to see Conor go on a run at the peak of his career, not wasting time, not fucking off, not being drunk all the time, not being a coke addict, not being a cokehead. Locked in McGregor would have been the one of the things. And it's not Zabit. Zabit isn't the greatest one of all time. I guess I can make that a separate rant. Zabit Sharipudov Magomedov, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, isn't the greatest what if. He had 3 runs cardio, and he had to retire due to his health issues. I understand that. But that doesn't make him the greatest what if, because people are just like, if he didn't retire, he would have been running the game. Volk would have TKO'd him. Aldo probably would have TKO'd him body shots. Max definitely would have volume TKO'd him. Like, Calvin Kattar, if he didn't get gifted a 3-round main event against Calvin Kattar, Kattar probably would have broken him. Conor McGregor is far more of a what if due to all the decision makings that were made. Zabit, he had to retire. He just had to. McGregor didn't need to take the Floyd Mayweather fights. He didn't need to take 2 years off. He chose to. So it's what if he didn't make those decisions? What could have been? What could have been a McGregor that's hungry, still fighting, still stacking up biggest fight cards ever in the UFC, fights Tony and Khabib and RDA all on his resume. Gets a good Justin Gaethje eventually, fights Dustin Poirier in a rematch. While they're both at the top of the division, McGregor's been dominating people. You know, what if we had seen that? But we don't get to because McGregor's career is all fucked. We didn't even get to see Tony versus Khabib. And that's all calls because McGregor had to fuck off. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. This is a bit of a rush video. I didn't have this really planned, but hope you guys enjoy it. As you can tell with the camera quality and hopefully the mic quality, we're leveling up. Shout out to my dad. He got me a webcam. Hopefully this is better for your guys' viewing experience. Hopefully this mic is doing a better job as well. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy this video. I think I'm gonna post a tier list tomorrow. Let me know what you guys think. Follow me on Twitter, jazzlovesmma. Like and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.